Trans fat, why the WHO wants to eliminate it worldwide by 2030. Most people have heard that trans fat is the villain of modern food. But is it really that dangerous? And if it's so harmful, why is it still in so many products? Today we'll unpack what science has truly discovered about trans fat, its real effects on the body, how it was created, and how to reduce your intake without falling for diet fads. Stay until the end. We'll break down popular product labels together and uncover where this fat still hides, even when the packaging says 0. 1. The global controversy. In 2015, the United States banned the use of industrial trans fats. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimated that this single measure could prevent hundreds of thousands of deaths per year. Brazil began enforcing restrictions in 2023, following the same path. But not every country has progressed at the same pace. According to the World Health Organization, more than 5 billion people are still exposed to trans fats through processed foods. In other words, it's not just a matter of personal choice. It's a global public health issue. 2. Understanding fat. To grasp the danger of trans fat, we first need to understand fats in general. Saturated fats come mainly from animal sources: butter, meat, and cheese. Unsaturated fats, found in vegetable oils and fish, are considered healthier. The difference lies in their chemical structure. Unsaturated fats have double bonds between carbon atoms, making them flexible and liquid at room temperature. When the food industry hydrogenates these oil, adding hydrogen, some of those bonds change shape, creating trans fat. The result is a fat that's more stable, more heat-resistant, and longer-lasting. Exactly what the food industry wanted. But that same stability makes it much harder for the body to metabolize. 3. The science behind the problem. Since the 1990s, research has shown that trans fat directly disrupts metabolism. Studies from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health and the American Heart Association reveal that it raises LDL, bad cholesterol, lowers HDL, good cholesterol, increases the risk of cardiovascular disease, but the damage goes far beyond the heart. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that diets high in trans fat trigger systemic inflammation, promoting insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Another 2020 study in Japan, involving over 1,600 participants, found a higher risk of dementia among people with elevated blood levels of trans fat. The reason is biochemical. Trans fat alters cell membrane composition, disrupting communication between cells. 4. Hormonal and endothelial impact. Few people realize that trans fat also affects the hormonal system. Research in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism shows that it reduces insulin sensitivity and impairs endothelial function, the inner lining of blood vessels. In women, it raises inflammatory markers. In men, it may negatively affect fertility by reducing sperm quality. 5. Where it hides. Even with new regulations, trans fat still lurks in many foods. Common sources include filled cookies and packaged snacks, industrial ice creams, frozen pizzas and lasagnas, long shelf life bakery goods, some older margarines. Here's the trap. A label may read 0 grams trans fat, yet still contain up to 0.19 grams per serving. If one serving is 3 cookies and you eat 9, the amount triples. That's why reading the entire ingredient list is essential. 6. How to identify it on labels. On ingredient lists, trans fat may appear under names like hydrogenated vegetable fat, hydrogenated vegetable oil, partially hydrogenated fat, vegetable shortening. All of these mean the same thing, trans fat. A new Anvisa rule now requires nutrition facts per 100 grams, making it easier to compare products and preventing 0 grams per serving loopholes from misleading consumers. 7. Comparing types of fat. Not all fats are enemies. The key is type and quantity. Saturated fats, like butter and meat, consume in moderation. Unsaturated fats, like olive oil, nuts, and fish, beneficial for the heart. Trans fats, avoid completely. The World Health Organization states that there is no safe level of trans fat consumption. Simple analogy. Saturated fat is like driving on a dirt road. It takes caution, but you'll get there. Trans fat is like driving with the handbrake on. The risk isn't worth it. 8. What happens when it's removed? In countries that ban trans fat, such as Denmark and the United States, heart disease deaths dropped by up to 10% within a few years. And what about taste? Almost no change. The food industry replaced trans fats with blends of vegetable oils and intraesterified fats, which are safer and more stable. 9. How to reduce it in daily life. Small daily changes make a big difference. Cook more meals at home. Read ingredient lists, not just nutrition tables. Avoid fried foods made with reused oil. Prioritize whole and minimally processed foods. The WHO recommends that trans fat intake not exceed 1% of total calories, less than 2 grams per day in a 2,000-calorie diet. 10. Key action areas of the WHO Replace package. The World Health Organization, WHO, launched the REPLACE initiative, a global action framework with 6 major pillars designed to eliminate industrially produced trans fats, ITFA, from the global food supply. Here's what each letter stands for. R. Review. Identify and review dietary sources of industrially produced trans fat and map the policy landscape for necessary changes. P. Promote. Promote the replacement of trans fats with healthier fats and oils. L. Legislate. Legislate or implement effective regulations to eliminate industrial trans fats. A. Assess and monitor. Assess and monitor trans fat content in the food supply and population intake. C. Create awareness, raise awareness about the negative health impacts of trans fats among policymakers, food producers, suppliers, and the public. E. Enforce. Enforce compliance. Ensure that established policies and regulations are effectively implemented. In short, Replace is the WHO's coordinated roadmap to help countries remove trans fats from the global food chain by 2030, protecting millions of lives through smarter, science-based nutrition policy. 11. A future without trans fat. The global goal is clear. Eliminate industrial trans fats completely by 2030. The WHO leads this effort through the REPLACE initiative, guiding governments and industries to reformulate products and educate consumers. It's one of the greatest public health achievements in the fight against chronic disease. Trans fat isn't a disease. It's a warning about our food choices. It represents the line between industrial convenience and health responsibility. With information, you can eat well, with pleasure and awareness. Every informed choice is an act of prevention. So tell me, do you already check food labels? Understanding what we eat is the first step toward living longer and better. Taking care of your health isn't a trend. It's applied knowledge. Thank you for watching until the end. If you'd like to follow more health episodes for both seniors and young people, built on empathy and science-backed information, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, leave a comment, and share our content. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to share this valuable exchange. See you in the next episode.